In lesson 43, we're learning about the trigonomic functions of sine, cosine, and tangent, and also their inverse functions. Now, there are different ways you can remember how to set up each of the ratios, but sine of theta, or sine of the angle, would equal opposite over hypotenuse. So the opposite is talking about the side that is opposite that angle, and the h is the hypotenuse. Then on cosine of theta, or cosine of the angle, it equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent is again talking about the side that is touching the angle, and opposite side and adjacent side, those are always the legs of the triangle. Okay, and then h again is the hypotenuse. Then tangent of theta is equal to the opposite side over the adjacent side. Now, some people remember them by Oscar had a hold on Arthur, which is how I was taught it. One of the things that some of my friends had learned in school was SOHCAHTOA, like a big long word, SOHCAHTOA. So however you want to remember this setup is fine. You can make up your own, and that would be great. But we're going to use those for finding missing angles and missing sides. Alright, so for this first one it says on A, find the sine of A. So the sine of A equals, remember that sine was opposite, so that's my side over here, over hypotenuse. So it would be 4 over 7, and then depending on what you want to do with it, you can leave it like that, or you might write it as a decimal. In the Saxon book, many times they write those as decimals, so 4 divided by 7 equals 0.57 when I'm rounding to the hundredths place. So both of those are correct, it's just one's in fraction form and one's in decimal form. Okay, and then on B, it says find the cosine of B. So the cosine of B, remember that was adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's 7 over 8.6. And since this has a decimal in one of the numbers, it makes sense that we would need to write this as a decimal. So 7 divided by 8.6 is 0.81, and we'll leave it like that. So both of these are right, but most of the time in the Saxon books I see it as a decimal at this point in time. Okay, and then on C, it says find the tangent of C. So for the tangent, that is opposite over adjacent. So the tangent of C equals 6 over 8, which would be the same as 3/4. So that's 0.75. Okay, and those are the A, B, and C answers. Then the next part of this is using the inverse function. So on your calculator, to find the inverse functions, those would be sine to the -1, cosine to the -1, and tangent to the -1. Or you might also have to use an inverse button. Okay. On my calculator, I have to hit the second and sine, and that gives me the inverse function of the sine, cosine, and tangent, just depending on which one I need. So on A, it says the angle whose sine is 0.643. So I'm going to have sine -1 and then 0.643, and that's how it'll actually look on my calculator screen. So second, sine 0.643, enter, and that is approximately 40.0 0.02 degrees. Okay, and then on B, the angle whose cosine is 0.216, I'll have cosine -1, and then in parentheses 0.216. So I'll hit second, cosine 0.216, and enter, and that is approximately 77.53 degrees. And another thing that you'll want to check on your calculator is that the mode is actually in degree mode and not radians, because that will make a big difference in your answer. Alright, hopefully this has been helpful. If not, leave a comment and I will try to answer it.